Hello everyone, Sage here. Welcome to the Executive Corner Expert Talks 20-minute roundup with Mr. Jurie Wessels, the Executive Director at Arcadia Minerals. The world is hungry for energy. Companies like Arcadia Minerals play a major role in the expanding industry today, and we'll be discussing a diversified minerals exploration and development company that aims to evolve as the next big supplier of battery and critical metals. Let's welcome our special guest for today's show, Mr. Jurie Wessels. So today's show, Mr. Jurie Wessels, the Executive Director at Arcadia Minerals, who has over 24 years experience across various mineral exploration projects, leading mining companies across Africa, Europe and South America, will share his insights with us, so you're in for a treat. Welcome to the show, Jurie. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. Well, let's get started with this discussion. Jurie, the pandemic has sparked off a new race amongst the nations as they transition to clean energy and mobility solutions, which will drive demand for battery metals. What does this demand growth mean for Arcadia Minerals, please?
Well, the demand for these metals means that we have buoyant markets because prices are going up. Buoyant markets enables exploration through funding. And Namibia is well placed to fulfill that role because it's geopolitically neutral, and then it allows Arcadia then to do what it does well, which is exploration. Arcadia is then in a position, because of its strategy, its development strategy, which is a three-pillar strategy, to fulfill some of those demands, and especially from a speculative point of view, be able to provide the market with exploration news, hopefully leading to discoveries and then ultimately development. That the three-pillar development strategy, just briefly, what does it mean? It means that the first strategy relies on a potential cash generation, which at this stage is the Swanton project, and the purpose of that is to alleviate the effects of dilution to shareholders. Secondly, to provide meaningful exploration capital to develop our existing and future projects, and then the second pillar is around the potentially company transforming assets that we have, and to explore that, that's the Bitterwasser lithium project, the Kumkum nickel and PGEs project, and then the Karapap copper gold project presently as it is now. Then the last pillar, probably the most important one, is the human capital, and that relates around the history of discovery and development to production that the principals of the company have, and many other people inside the company that's working with us. The CEO, Philip Leroux, and I have a long-standing history of exploration and making discoveries and developing projects, and then we also have project generation skills, and then of course the hands-on management that one would need in a country like Namibia or anywhere else in the world to make sure that things happen from an exploration point of view.
Thank you for sharing your strategy with us, and hope it goes well for you. So recently, Jurie, Arcadia announced the acquisition of a proven lithium project with an existing JORC mineral resource adjacent to its Bitterwasser lithium project. How does the newly acquired lithium project enhance the opportunity at the Bitterwasser lithium project?
Well, first, a number of requirements exist for a lithium exploration program. We believe that we have two elements at Bitterwasser. But the lithium exploration, generally speaking, is hard rock that you would find with pegmatites. Then you would find it with brines, which are essentially water, saline waters. Inside that saline waters would be the lithium, and then a third element would be sedimentary nature, clays or shales or something like that. Now, we have the two last mentioned ones at Bitterwasser, which is the saline component. We believe it's there. It's untested for lithium at presently, but there are a number of indications that it could possibly be elevated lithium mineralization at the Bitterwasser clay brine depositions, if that exists. Then the clay acquisition that we've made recently is another layer that not only confirms the brine possibilities, but it also is a possible standalone, simply because it would be qualified as a resource on its own. But why do I say that it qualifies? One of the requirements for a lithium brine deposit is one of the requirements for a lithium brine deposit is that usually there are clay deposits associated with it. And the bigger picture for Arcadia around the Bitterwasser project is the brine deposits, which are very similar to what we hope to what is in South America in the lithium triangle. And that's why it's so important to us to have acquired this, because it indicates that one of the most important requirements for a brine deposit has been ticked off. There are of course others as well, which we will then relate to the market very shortly. But then also, most importantly, it could possibly underpin the entire Bitterwasser exploration project, simply because the brines, a clay deposit, would possibly be a standalone operation on its own.
Sounds fantastic. It's a very exciting time to be connecting with your company, and some great news for the shareholders there. Arcadia has declared maiden JORC resources at the Swanton tantalum and lithium project. What are the next exploration and development steps at Swanton, please?
Well, we've brought out a first resource from historical drilling. We're continually drilling presently. Have 1,200 meters to complete there. We're about halfway through with that. Once that drilling has been completed, we will then attempt to bring out an updated resource. We believe it's there. And then, as I mentioned, the Pillar 1 strategy, or the development strategy reliant on the Pillar 1, Pillar 2, and Pillar 3. The Pillar 1 project that we believe will be in production. And so if the resource stacks up, we will then conduct the necessary feasibility studies to determine whether it is viable as a standalone mining operation. That will then provide us with the deposit book side of things.
These things certainly do take some time. We will be keen to find out if you do proceed with the feasibility study. Please let us know. Arcadia is comfortably keeping up with its ambitious timeline from the sounds of things, Jurie. On its current trajectory, where would you like the company to be by mid-2022?
Well, starting again with the Swanton tantalum project, Pillar 1, we would like to be in advanced development with Swanton, hopefully finalize the feasibility study by then, possibly also have some indications on construction capital being available, but that of course relies once again on the resource stacking up and all the other elements of exploration and development being there. We are fairly confident that we'll end up there. Then on the second pillar, which is the exploration side of things, potentially company transforming, we would like to continually get working on the Bitterwasser project, and there we hope then to tick off the Bitterwasser project as potentially the latest globally lithium province for through exploration. So what do I mean by that? It's not we're not expecting it to be a resource at that stage yet, but we wish to show that it's got all the elements of an exploration asset that could possibly become a major province. Now that requires some more work, and at this stage all the indications are that we are heading towards that, but that is what we wish to establish at that time, is that we have a project that could provide the speculative appeal of possibly leading to a discovery. And then lastly, we would want to expand for as far as Bitterwasser is concerned, we would like to expand the resource at Bitterwasser, improve on that. We have a 15 million ton resource presently. We'd like to improve on that. We are 7 pans there. The resource only exists on a small portion of those pans at this stage, and we wish to expand that. And then we would like to also have some exploration wells at our Kumkum nickel and PGE project and our Arcadia copper gold projects that points towards a potential discovery. One thing I might also have to mention with respect to exploration, which relates more to Swanton, is that we will then, of course, hope to be in a position where we've identified other pegmatites in the larger license area. The Swanton project area is only one of several pegmatite swarms in the area, and we would then wish to identify at that stage some other pegmatites that would be possibly mineralized.
Thank you so much for sharing your timeline, and I hope that it all goes to plan. So how is Arcadia placed to create shareholder value against its peers?
Well, this is basically pillar one. If Swanton comes through, then we will be in a position where we can say that we have something that not many exploration companies have, and that is a deposit book. Exploration costs money, as everybody knows, but due to the nature of exploration, there's no mining, and therefore there's no income stream. If a project like Swanton can be brought to production and provide an income stream, that will be very helpful to fund exploration and protect shareholder value. And I think to some extent we are different from other projects in the exploration realm, that because of that. And then also I think that we have potentially company transforming assets in the form of the Bitterwasser project, mainly also the Kumkum nickel and PGE project, and possibly also the Arcadia copper gold project.
Excellent. Sounds like your Pillar 1 strategy puts the shareholder interests at the forefront. And Jurie, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with our esteemed audience at Kalkine before we close off the discussion?
Yeah, I think exploration is obviously difficult. It's not easy. It costs a lot of money. Shareholders tend to look at exploration with a short-term view, which in many instances would be justifiable. But if one also then looks at exploration, generally speaking, it takes a long time to get results. Sometimes it takes years, and if shareholders sell or buy dependent on how market conditions are, that's 100% fine. But I think it's important to realize that holding on to your share would be more profitable could be more profitable in the long term because of the strategy that we have, reliant on Pillar 1, acquiring other assets, developing these Pillar 2 projects that are potentially company transforming, and relying on our Pillar 3, which are our skills. So have a good look at the company and see whether it does fulfill your requirements for exploration and a longer term view.
Thank you so much for your time today, Jurie. That was a fabulous show. It was lovely chatting to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sage.
And with that, Sage here will sign off for today. Watch this space for more. Until then, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.